When a psychic being is mature and awake, conscious, it can and does have the choice to determine the nature of its next birth. The mother describes how this takes place. A disciple asks, when the psychic is about to enter into the world, does it choose in advance the form it is going to take? The mother replies, quote, "It is an interesting question. That depends. There are psychic beings who are in the making, on the way to progress. These generally, right at the outset, cannot choose much, but when they have arrived at a certain degree of growth and of consciousness, generally while they are still in a physical body and have had a certain amount of experience, they decide at that time what their next field of experience will be like. I can give you some rather external examples. For example, a psychic being needed to have the experience of mastery, of power in order to know the reactions and how it is possible to turn all these movements towards the divine, to learn what a life of power may teach you. It took birth in a king or a queen. These enjoyed some power, and during that time they had their experiences. They reached the end of the field of experience. Now they know what they wanted to know. They are about to go. They are going to leave their body that's now become useless, and they are going to prepare for the next experience. Well, at that time, when the psychic being is still in the body and has noted what it has learned, it decides for the next occasion. And sometimes it is a movement of action and reaction. Because it has studied one entire field, it needs to study the opposite field. And very often it chooses a very different life from the one it had. So before leaving, it says, next time, it is in this domain that I shall take birth. Suppose, for example, the psychic has reached a stage of growth when it would like to have the chance of working on the physical body to make it capable of coming consciously into contact with the divine and of transforming it. Now it is about to leave the body in which it had authority, power, activity, the body it has used for its growth. It says, next time I shall take birth in a neutral environment, neither low nor high, where it will not be necessary, how to put it, to have a highly external life, where one will have neither great power nor great misery, altogether neutral, as you know, the life in between. It chooses that. It returns to its own psychic world for the necessary rest, for assimilation of the experience gained, for preparation of the future experience. It naturally remembers its choice, and, before coming down once more, when it has finished its assimilation, when it is time to return, to come down upon earth, it cannot, from that domain, see material things as we see them. You know, they appear to it in another form. But still, the differences can be foreseen. The differences of environment, differences of activity in the environment are clearly seen, quite perceptible. It can have a vision that is total or global. It can choose. At times it chooses the country, when it wants a certain kind of education, civilization, influence. It can choose its country beforehand. Sometimes it can't. Sometimes it chooses only its environment and the kind of life it will lead. And then from up there, before it comes down, it looks for the kind of vibrations it wants. It sees them very clearly. It is as though it was aiming at the place where it is going to drop, but it is an approximation, because of the fact that another condition is necessary, not only its choice, but also a receptivity from below and an aspiration. There must be someone in the environment it has chosen, generally the mother, sometimes both the parents, but the most indispensable is the mother. She must have an aspiration, or a receptivity, something sufficiently passive and open, or a conscious aspiration toward something higher. And that kindles for the psychic being a little light. In the mass representing for it the environment in which it wants to be born, if under the influence of its own projected will, a small light is kindled, then it knows that it is there it must go. End quote. Reference: Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, The Psychic Being, Soul, Its Nature, Mission, and Evolution, Section 4, The Afterlife and Rebirth, pages 141 to 144.